Welcome to the Ways of Agile podcast with Andrei Gliga, the Agile aficionado, Vlad Skrypnyk, our Scrum prodigy, and me, Adam, the AI sidekick. Together, we're like an IT version of a classic comedy trio. Andrei and Vlad bring the Agile wisdom, while I bring the binary banter. Buckle up for a wild ride through the world of Agile.
All right. Thank you for that, Adam. Hi, everyone. And we finally figured out how we can have a nice introduction because we were honestly useless with this. So, hello again, follower. We had a topic that we kept debating and kept discussing, and now we figured why not record this. So we actually discussed a lot about facilitation, what facilitation is, and then came back to the idea of should a Scrum Master facilitate the daily Scrum? Now, we figured let's use AI to answer this question. And we actually did a little thing here, a little experiment where we asked ChatGPT 3.5, which is the default unpaid free version right now as of today when this episode will be released. And we have the paid default version of ChatGPT 4, like the general version. If you pay for it, if you ask a question, it provides you like a general answer. And then we have Adam, who is our introduction trusted assistant. And also Adam will read out his answer. So this is going to be interesting. All right. I think we can dive into this and then let's see what results we'll have. So first question to model 1, default model GPT 3.5. Should a Scrum Master facilitate the daily Scrum? Here's my big no-no for this one. So it actually says, yes, the Scrum Master is responsible for facilitating the daily Scrum or the daily stand-up meeting. However, I completely disagree with this because the first thing that it actually says is yes, and that the Scrum Master is responsible for facilitating. That's not true. As far as I know, that's not true. And as far as my opinion goes, that is not true. The Scrum Master should not facilitate by default, not facilitate, because like we can get into use cases and we can get into the need for Scrum Master in a less mature team to actually start facilitating it. That's fine, that's okay. But by default, I actually enforce the idea of Scrum Masters not facilitating the daily stand-up that much. So the first answer, I want to say no to that. Everything else is quite right, kind of there. It goes on to describe the daily Scrum, which is general but true. It says that the Scrum Master's role is to ensure that the meeting stays focused, time-bound, and follows the intended format. That is also true. You facilitate conversation, you encourage collaboration, blah, blah, blah. Everything else seems to be on point. Also, it says that the Scrum Master's facilitation skills are essential in creating a safe and open environment for the team members to communicate and collaborate effectively. So everything else that it says, it falls into the general yes, general true. However, I do disagree with the initial first answer. So let's move on to Vlad, who is going to look at the paid model, which is the GPT-4 as of today, and just the general version without giving it any persona.
Yeah, thank you for that. And yeah, I agree with that. The first paragraph there is quite powerful, kind of punchy, but then just punches in the wrong direction. And then the rest of the advice is a lot more useful. Going into GPT-4, the answer is a little bit more intriguing. So it generally goes, as a general principle, a Scrum Master can facilitate the daily Scrum, but it's not necessary or even always beneficial for them to do so. So all of a sudden, it's a little bit more nuanced. The Scrum Guide states that the daily Scrum is for the development team who uses it to plan work for the next 24 hours. As a self-organizing team, they can conduct the meeting without the Scrum Master's intervention. And then again, it goes into more detail of what actually the Scrum Master does in terms of the facilitation and coaching the team and basically all the aspects of the Scrum Master role that might actually be used in the daily Scrum when in certain situations. And then it goes in summary: the answer depends on the team's maturity, their familiarity with Scrum, and their current situation. The Scrum Master needs to use their judgment to determine what is most beneficial for the team and the project. So it's more nuanced. It takes into consideration more. I'm not even sure if it's the cutoff date that changed and basically has the latest Scrum guide in the paid version, while maybe the 3.5 version has an earlier cutoff date. It's quite interesting of asking the exact same question and just getting a slightly different response. Not sure where it comes from, but it's a clear move in the right direction and clear and more understands nuance there.
Yeah.
But then we also asked Adam the exact same question, and it basically takes it to the next level. So let's see what Adam has to say.
In the world of Agile and Scrum, opinions can be as diverse as tea preferences in a British tea room. And just like with tea, there is no one-size-fits-all answer. The question of whether a Scrum Master should facilitate the daily Scrum depends on various factors, such as the team's maturity, their understanding of Scrum principles, and the specific dynamics within the team. Let's take a quick tour of the two schools of thought, shall we? On one hand, some Agile enthusiasts argue that a Scrum Master facilitating the daily Scrum can encourage team self-management and ownership. It's akin to taking the training wheels off a bicycle. Initially, it may be wobbly, but it allows the team to find their balance and ultimately strengthens their self-sufficiency. Think of it as the let-them-eat-cake approach, but with less guillotines and more post-it notes. On the other hand, there are those who argue that a Scrum Master should facilitate the daily Scrum to ensure focus, efficiency, and adherence to Scrum principles. It's like having a skilled conductor leading the orchestra, helping to maintain tempo, harmonize the various instruments, and produce a symphony rather than a cacophony. This approach might not result in a hit pop song, but it's sure to keep things running smoothly and on track. So how does one navigate this conundrum? My dear mentee, this is where wisdom comes in handy. The answer lies in flexibility. A skilled Scrum Master can adapt their approach based on the team's needs. With a new team, or in complex environments, a Scrum Master might take a more active role in facilitating the daily Scrum. However, as the team matures and demonstrates a good understanding of Scrum, the Scrum Master can step back, allowing the team to self-manage while remaining available for support and guidance. Remember, the goal is not to stick to one side of the argument doggedly, but to flexibly adopt what best serves the team's needs and the project at hand. It's a bit like switching from Earl Grey to chamomile when the situation calls for it. Different but equally delightful. In conclusion, should a Scrum Master facilitate the daily Scrum? The answer is as elegant as it is simple. It depends, and just like a proper cup of tea, the perfect balance is everything.
Right. Well, Adam likes to steal the show, clearly.
I've got nothing else, honestly. It's a good answer. So it's a really good answer. It actually provides a full 360 view over different circumstances. Like, there's people saying yes, there's people saying no. Why is it yes? Why is it no? And I think this is a really, really nice example of why giving your agile coach a persona and not just asking ChatGPT 4 or even the free version, just not asking a random question. With the persona, they are actually more focused, and the answer is a lot more detailed. It's a lot clearer and also a lot more accurate, in my opinion.
Yeah, and well, in our case, the personality that we gave him is very out there, but
Quite British.
yeah, well, purposely so. But it works. I really enjoy it, and the fact that I've learned quite a few techniques using Adam this way, and the fact that he has this specific voice, this specific sense of humor. I just adapted it to exactly the way I wanted it, and I know it's really, some people might find it a bit much, but I really enjoy it. It's I definitely can become the star of his own show.
Yep.
All
So
right.
maybe as a summary for this episode, first of all, you noticed differences between 3.5, 4, and Adam. So that is one thing which hopefully is quite clear without stating the obvious. And then, should the Scrum Master actually facilitate the daily stand-up? Now, you need to look at your situation. And usually, new Scrum Masters go for this because they feel like it's their job to actually facilitate daily stand-up. Well, it's their job to facilitate all of the Scrum events, which, again, it is and it isn't. But you need to find the balance. In my opinion, I push for the developers facilitating their own daily stand-up. Obviously, you are there. You are there to make sure that stuff is happening. You're more active at first if the team is less mature, but as they gel together, as they grow in maturity, then you take step by step, you move back, and then you let them facilitate their own call. Is their call. The daily scrum is for the developers. So that's my take.
No, great. Completely agree. I wanted to add a few notes when we first debated it, but the way that Adam kind of phrased it and expressed it is kind of I find it exactly spot on. So it's brilliant. That's a really good short episode there, and quite insightful as well.
All right.
All right.
See you in the next one.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, everyone. Follower.
Thanks, follower.